Hello guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to set up Marlin Configurator from the marlin-config GitHub. The pastebin for everything you need will be in the link in the description below. If YouTube decides to remove links again, the pastebin will be right here. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the marlin-config GitHub. We're going to click releases and we're going to download the Windows executable, which right now, unless someone decides to pick this up and update it, it's from October 2018, but it does work, and the version is 2.10.7. We're going to need another few things to get this working. We're going to need Git, Node.js, Python, and Visual Studio Codes, at least in my experience. And if you want a better, general Notepad, Notepad++ is something I like to use. Just go ahead and download the Windows version and latest version of each and every one of these things. Once those are all downloaded, the first thing you're going to install is Git. And then when you go to install it, just install it with default settings, just next all the way through. Then after Git has been installed, uncheck the release notes, press finish, and then we're going to go ahead and install Python. You're going to check this box right here to add Python 3.9 to path. It can be useful for you later. It's just a nice thing to have. And then at the end of the Python installation, there's going to be another prompt, and you're going to want to click that too. I'll just let it install and I'll show you what that prompt is. The prompt is to disable the path length limit. Go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to install Node.js and Python however you want. Doesn't really matter. Just go ahead and install those. Alright, so now that Node.js and Visual Studio Code is installed, what you can do is you can go ahead and launch the executable that you downloaded from here, the marlin-config setup 2.10.7, and that'll install the Marlin configurator. After it's done installing, it will open itself up, and you'll see PlatformIO is not installed. Do not press this auto install button. It broke it for me, so I had to completely wipe the install, and that was a little bit complex of a process. So if you want to avoid that whole convoluted process, just go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. Once it's open, click these little boxes right here where there's like 3 in the bottom left and 1 up to the right, and then go ahead and search platform. IO. And that is this right here, the PlatformIO.IDE. You can either press install here or here, it doesn't matter. Just let it finish installing, and I'll be back once that is done. It'll take about 5 minutes. Okay, and now that PlatformIO.IDE is installed, just reload the Visual Studio Code. If you want, you can 100% use Visual Studio Code to configure your Marlin firmware. I personally do not do that anymore because there were times when closing my firmware or closing Visual Studio Code, my config files got corrupted and, just foobarred it, and I had to redo everything. And it happened so often that I was looking for a solution, and that's where Marlin-config came into play. So now that PlatformIO is installed through Visual Studio Code, what we're going to do is we're going to open Marlin Configurator back up. And as you can see, PlatformIO is now installed. And how you would normally go about just getting your latest version of Marlin is clicking new here and then pressing open folder. And in wherever you want to put it, you can put it there, and you can call up this folder whatever you want. This is just going to be the primary folder that will have your Marlin folder inside of it. I'm going to call it Ender 3 Pro, and then to 12/21, which is today's date, and like the 4th time I'm recording this. So you're just gonna hit select folder. Oop, 1 second. And it's going to download the latest version of Marlin. After that is downloaded, you're gonna open the folder. It's gonna automatically open the folder. And as you can see, it's Heads 2.0x. That's the latest version of Marlin. You can, start editing your file and rename the author of it. Whatever you need to do. I won't really go into any description of how to configure your Marlin firmware. You should pretty much know how to do that. A lot of this application is self-explanatory. But there are a few things that I would suggest doing in my experience. The one thing that I really like to do is get off of the main release branch of Marlin and go into the bug fix version. And what you can do to do that is you can click here where it says Heads 2.0x, you can press branches, and you can switch it to the origin bug fix 2.0x if you want to do it that way. Personally, I like to do my Git stuff myself, so that way I know that it is on the right version. So we're going to close out of marlin-config, and we're going to delete this Marlin folder that it created. All that was really useful is for if you want a default Marlin release and you wanted to configure it that way. Me personally, I don't like to do that. So I'm going to open git bash here. And I'm going to go to my paste, or to copy and paste that into here, which is just git clone -b. This -b stands for branch. You can do either -b or -b. And then the name of the branch you want to get, which for me is bugfix 2.0x. And a link to the GitHub repository. It's going to clone that, and it's going to download it. Once it's done downloading, you can just reopen Marlin Configurator and configure it from there if you want to use the bug fix version of it. So there are a few features of the Marlin Configurator that I would like to go over before ending this video. Is once you open the folder in Marlin Configurator, there are these little exclamation points, and they actually tell you what each setting does. So this is telling me that this is the firmware information, and this right here, the string configure age, is the author that is shown at the startup message and is meant to identify the author, whatever. And I found that editing in the configurator can be a little bit laggy, but if you want to go around that, you can just go to localhost port 3000, and then from there, it's easy breezy, lemon squeezy. You can control F to find what you need to. So let's say you just wanted to update your configurations for steps per millimeter or steps per unit, and you know that 400 is right on the Z, but 500 is way too much on the E, so you want to put 137.6, whatever. And then if you were to need configurations, you can get that through the normal methods, through the readme in the config folder, or going over to this page and downloading pre-configured Marlin configurations that were made with the Marlin config application. A lot of this database is outdated, but I'm hoping it becomes more up to date as more people start to grab this app again. Everything should work as you need. Just make sure to properly identify your PlatformIO config to the right type of board CPU, and you should be able to compile from there. Let me go ahead and grab my configs from the website and show you what it's like to compile with this application. Drag these into here, place all the files. Oops. E3, no, downloads. Pretty sure I accidentally canceled that. Let's replace these files. Okay, then we can go back to the Marlin configurator. And you can see it's updated to my firmware now. I'm going to change the PlatformIO settings to be for the Victory Check Mini E3 v2.0. Save that. Go ahead. Refresh this page. Actually, we're going to close out a Marlin configurator just in case it doesn't update that PlatformIO configuration. Select my folder, open. Alright. And then we should be able to, once it loads, just press compile. And we're going to make sure that it finishes compiling. It's going to download a bunch of dependencies. This is going to take a while, so I'll come right back. Alright, you can see that the Marlin firmware has compiled, and if we were to go ahead and copy that to our printer, we'd go to PIO, build our board, and then just copy and paste this firmware.bin folder, or upload it through Arduino. There are a bunch of tutorials on that. I would suggest going into one of those tutorials to figure out how exactly to configure your Marlin. This was just more of like an overview of how to get the Marlin configurator installed, working, and the general little features of it, like the descriptions by pressing these little information icons, and using the tool to either change your branches with this, or using the git bash to change your repository branch. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, and you can now rest easy knowing that you won't close Visual Studio and corrupt your configuration files and have to redo everything. If this video was helpful, go ahead and leave a like and a comment down below. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I plan to upload some more videos in the future. I'm not sure when I will do that, but until then, I'll see you next time.